The Archive of the Forgotten. Before we begin, make sure to follow this channel and leave a like if you enjoy unsettling mysteries. Stories like this take time to uncover, and trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. If you're ready, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and let's step into the woods together. The story. They always told us that the forest behind Coldwater Town went on forever, that the deeper you walked, the more the world seemed to fold into itself. Even as a kid, I used to hear the older residents whisper that the trees there didn't grow like normal trees, that the branches pointed in the same direction, as if all reaching towards something unseen, something waiting. I never believed those stories, not until I found the archive. My name doesn't matter anymore, though you'll hear it whispered if you ever visit the ruins of Coldwater. What matters is that I'm the last one who tried to document what happened. And what I found was never meant to be touched, let alone read. It started on a Thursday evening, the kind that arrives dressed in heavy gray clouds and cold wind that sweeps under your clothes. I had just moved back to town after years away. Coldwater wasn't meant for anyone to return to, but debts and bad decisions have a way of dragging you back to old shadows. Walking home from the bus stop, I took a shortcut through the woods. That's when I noticed the trees. All leaning, all pointing, all toward a single direction. At first I thought it was an illusion. The forest was silent, too silent, except for a faint, rhythmic clicking sound, like a distant camera shutter. I followed the direction of the leaning branches until I stumbled upon something I had never seen on any map. A door. A freestanding wooden door, not connected to a wall, standing alone among the trees. Its surface was carved with spirals and long, spindly shapes resembling limbs. At first, I thought it was some modern art thing, or maybe an abandoned camp project. But then I noticed the handle. It was warm, and it was moving, pulsing, like something on the other side was breathing through the wood. I should have turned back, but curiosity is a curse that feels like hunger. So I opened the door. There was no room behind it, no building, nothing, only darkness. A darkness that felt thick, as though it had weight. But in that darkness, I saw shelves. Dozens, maybe hundreds of shelves stretching into the abyss. This was not a room. It was an archive, a library of forgotten things. And among those shelves were stacks of notebooks, VHS tapes, Polaroid photographs pinned with rusted nails, and old cassette tapes with peeling labels. Each item carried the same symbol on it, a circle crossed by an X. Familiar, but wrong somehow. Too sharp, too intentional. I stepped inside. My phone immediately lost signal. The clicking sound I'd heard before grew louder, like something tall moving between shelves with limbs that brushed the ceiling. The air smelled of damp earth, old paper, and something metallic underneath. I picked up the first notebook I found. The leather cover cracked like old skin. Inside were entries written in different handwriting styles, dated across decades, even centuries. They all described the same thing, a figure, tall, faceless, watching from the trees, appearing first in the corner of your vision, then behind you, then closer. The final line of every entry, regardless of the year or author, was identical. He belongs to the archive, and now so do I. The clicking stopped. The silence that followed felt alive. Then I heard it, a breath, not mine, slow, narrow, as if pulled through a throat that shouldn't exist. I turned, expecting to see someone, but there was nothing. Only the shelves. Yet the darkness between them had shifted. Something was there. Something patient. Something tall. I backed away slowly, clutching the notebook. Then I heard a second sound. Paper ripping. I looked down. The notebook was crumbling in my hand, its pages rotting away as though time was accelerating inside it. Letters dissolved, Words bled into nothing. The book fell apart entirely, turning to dust. Whatever was in this place didn't want to be recorded. I ran, but the door was gone. Where it once stood was now just another aisle of endless shelves. I ran down it, then another, but the aisles twisted impossibly. The archive was changing shape as I moved, folding itself around me like a closing hand. I turned a corner and froze. There he stood, the figure, Slender Man. He was taller than any depictions I had ever seen, well beyond the height of a man, his limbs stretching out in unnatural lengths, tapering to sharp, fingerless points. His suit was torn in places, revealing pale, almost translucent skin underneath. His head was smooth, faceless, yet I felt it look at me. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to stay still. The air around him vibrated, like reality itself was struggling to hold his shape. He raised one long arm and pointed towards something behind me. I turned reluctantly. A table had appeared. On it sat a single item, a tape recorder. A label on it read, "For the next archivist." My hands shook as I pressed play. Static, heavy, swallowing static. Then a voice, raspy, broken. "If you're hearing this, you walked through the door. You made the mistake I did. You came looking for answers. You won't find them. Not here. Not anymore." He doesn't let answers leave. A long silence followed. Then the voice whispered, "He collects us." The recorder clicked off. The air grew cold. The floor beneath me seemed to tilt, pulling me toward the towering figure behind me. His limbs unfurled, reaching, not in a rush, but slowly, like he already knew escape was impossible. Suddenly, the shelves around us trembled. Something fell above, several shelves collapsing in a chain reaction. Books rained from the darkness. The floor cracked open beneath Slender Man's feet as if the archive itself was rebelling. The figure turned its faceless head upward, as though surprised. I ran. The ground was breaking apart. A void appeared between the shelves, swallowing everything. I dashed across fallen books, leaping over gaps, my breath burning. I didn't know where I was going or if the door existed anymore. All I knew was that the archive was collapsing and that he was following. No footsteps, no running, just presence. He moved without sound, appearing closer every time I blinked. The clicking returned, loud now, frantic, echoing through the collapsing library. Then I saw it, a sliver of light, the door, standing alone again, impossibly, in the middle of a widening void. I threw myself through it. I hit the forest floor hard. The door slammed shut behind me and vanished completely. The trees stood still. The sounds of the forest returned. Wind, distant birds, the crack of branches. Night had fallen. I ran home and locked every door and window. I thought that was the end. It wasn't, because the next morning, on my doorstep, I found a package. Inside, wrapped in old paper smelling of the archive, was the same tape recorder. But now, the label had changed. It read, "For the one who escaped," and next to it was a Polaroid picture of me. Standing inside the archive, Slender Man looming behind me, his arm extended, his hand on my shoulder. The picture had never been taken, not by me, not by anyone I knew. And worst of all, I wasn't looking at the camera. I was looking at him.